The people in Israel are not too excited about the philosophy of Zionism. It's just Jews living in a country where they're constantly being attacked. That's all there is. There's no philosophy behind this. It's sheer survival.
Hello everybody and welcome to JTV. Today we are joined once again by Rabbi Manis Friedman, who is currently across the pond in New York, I believe. Rabbi, thank you so much for making the time to be here with us on JTV today. Really appreciate it.
I love doing this.
Me too. This is really a highlight whenever I have the chance to do it with you. There's so much to discuss, and I think what would be wise is if we split up this discussion into talking about what's happened since October 7th. But the truth is, as I just told you off air, prior to that, I have a build-up of pages and pages of questions I want to ask you about various videos I want to get your response to that I saw, and I thought I'd love to hear what Rabbi Friedman has to say about that. And I don't think we should let what Hamas did distract us from also talking about more broader issues that can shed light on living, really, because we need more life, and that's really has to be the answer to everything. But let's talk about Israel nonetheless to start off with. I wanted to get your thoughts on some of the accusations first that we hear leveled against Israel and more generally the Zionist project. To start with, what are your views on people that say sometimes you'll get this in anti-Israel protests, but also you may hear this in a few pockets of ultra-religious camps where they'll say that Zionism and Judaism are simply not the same? My initial reaction when I hear that is open a Bible. There's almost this obsession with the Jewish people's relationship with the land. So what are your thoughts on that?
At this point, I'm not even sure what Zionism is. Does it mean the existence of Jews in the Middle East? Is that Zionism? I don't know. The people in Israel are not too excited about the philosophy of Zionism. I don't know if Zionism even exists anymore. It's just Jews living in a country where they're constantly being attacked. That's all there is. There's no philosophy behind this. It's sheer survival. And it would be the same if they were in any other country, in any other region. It's a large collection of Jews that are constantly being attacked.
Yeah. I have to pause you just for one sec to tell you this is such a funny story. A few years ago, because this sheds light on exactly what you're saying. A few years ago, my father is a member of a Conservative Party Friends of Israel kind of lobby group. And we took a bunch of he was taking with his group a bunch of members of parliament and members of the House of Lords to Israel, non-Jewish. And I went along with him. And I remember I was standing in the security at Ben Gurion Airport, and there was a woman who was a baroness, meaning a female member of the House of Lords, non-Jewish, in front of me in the line. And the security guard was looking at her passport, and it says at the start of her name, Baroness, this or that, because you can get that added to your passport. So I remember him saying, "It says Baroness. What this means?" She said, it means I have a seat in the House of Lords. I'm a female politician. And he goes, good for you. Next. And that, for me, summarized exactly what you're saying. This, we don't really have time for all those kind of pomp and ceremony things. We're fighting for our survival. Sorry, I had to throw in that story.
I remember being on a bus going from somewhere to somewhere in Israel. The bus was very crowded, and the last passengers to get on had to stand next to the driver in the stairwell because there were no seats. So she's standing there with a big shopping bag in her arm. The driver leans over and looks into her bag, and he sees the vegetables that she's carrying. And he says, if you do it with a little bit of pepper and you add a little bit of this, and they go into this whole recipe. the familiarity, the informality of it. In America, you look into somebody's bag, you get arrested. But to peek into the bag and get into a whole conversation about how to best make the guacamole or whatever, that's Israel. So Zionism is a non existent theory, political theory, philosophy. It's irrelevant today. So is Zionism, anti-Zionism, the same as anti-Semitism? There is no anti-Zionism because Zionism doesn't exist. It's just a poor excuse for anti-Semitism. And anti-Semitism is simply the inability to make peace with the fact that Jews are different from the rest of the world. What are we going to do? We're different.
Mm.
Love it or hate it. That's it.